So let's take a look. I was excited when the president of the university came to see my son and I. Now, in this particular case, you would choose whichever answer choice, A, B, C, D, or E, is the correct one. So you have an opportunity to change and say, okay, A is a problem, B is the problem, C is the problem, D is the problem, or E, there is no problem, no error in the sentence, okay? So when we take a look at this sentence, we want to keep in mind what is underlined, because those are the only options we have to change. So I was excited when the president of the university. Now, a lot of people might think that this needs a capital P, but it does not. You're just talking about in general, the president of the university. Those types of titles are going to be lowercase. So we're gonna go ahead and knock off A and B. Came to see my son and I. All right, this right here is what's in question. Now, a lot of people would say that this is grammatically correct. I was excited when the president of the university came to see my son and I. But what I would encourage you to do when you're talking about multiple people in the sentence is to take the other person out along with the article, and it would read, I was excited when the president of the university came to see I. Does that sound correct? No, and in fact, it's not correct. This should be me. Me is the direct object in this sentence, and it should be used in the predicate portion of the sentence. You would never say, I was excited when the president of the university came to see I. You would say, I was excited when the president of the university came to see me. So the correct answer here would be, I was excited when the president of the university came to see my son and me. Now, a lot of people think that that sounds grammatically incorrect, because we have been trained to say, Sally and I went to the store. And so you're conditioned to put that I in there, Sally and I. It sounds more grammatically correct if we use that I, but in this case, I is the subject, not the direct object, because if I took off Sally and, I would have I went to the store. In this case, I is fine. However, if I'm talking about the predicate, you're talking about direct object pronouns, and me is the proper direct object pronouns. Just like I would say, I was excited when the president of the university came to see her and him. I was excited when the president came to see her. I was excited when the president came to see him. You see, we have subject pronouns and direct object pronouns. And subject pronouns are I, he, she, they, we. I went to the store. I is the subject. It is a subject pronoun. He went to the store. She went to the store. They went to the store. We went to the store. You can see that these pronouns all belong in the subject portion of the sentence. So if I had two people, I would say Sally and I went to the store, or she and I went to the store. Because if I took out she and, I would have I. If I took out I would have she went to the store. So always take out the other person when you're trying to figure that out. Direct object pronouns are me, him, her, them, and us. I was excited when the president of the university came to see me. He came to see him. He came to see her. He came to see them. He came to see us. These pronouns belong in the predicate portion of the sentence and are the direct object pronouns. So don't be afraid of the me. A lot of people think it sounds grammatically incorrect to put that me in there, and they think that the I is correct here, but it is not correct. You must say me. The president of the university came to see me. The president of the university came to see my son and me. This is actually the correct answer here. Now, where it gets tricky is where you have something like this. Although he is older, my brother is shorter than me. Now we have an opportunity to change this comma, but the comma is correct. Although he is older, although is a subordinate conjunction. If you're using it in a clause, it needs to have a comma after it, because the independent clause here is my brother is shorter than me. And that is, my brother is the subject, is shorter is the predicate. So that's the independent clause. Although he is older is the dependent clause. So the comma here is correct, okay? Now we have, my brother is shorter than me. Well, I have shorter, which seems to be fine. And than, I have the correct usage here. Sometimes people will change this to then. Then is time, than is comparison. And in this case, they are using the proper word, than. So that is fine. And then I have this me, direct object here. Now, I just told you in the previous problem that you would use me in the predicate part of the sentence. And so a lot of people think that this is correct. But what you are saying here is, my brother is shorter than I am short. Or my brother is shorter than I am. In this case, you would not use the me, you would use the I. And here's a little trick. If you have a comparison, than, and then you have me after it, you're going to need to change this. This becomes now a subject. I is the subject, am is the predicate. We have now another subject of the sentence. It is not part of the direct object, because what you're saying is, my brother is shorter than I am. Same with, let's say, this said her. My brother is shorter than her. That would be incorrect as well, because you would be saying, my brother is shorter than she is, or she is short. That's the full sentence. So my brother is shorter than she. My brother is shorter than he. My brother is shorter than I. Pay attention when you see a than and we're talking about a comparison. We are actually having another full sentence basically on the other side. I am short. She is short. So the correct pronoun here is going to be the subject pronoun, she or I or he. Now, another way in which this can be tricky is when we start looking at the pronoun everyone. Now, when you hear everyone, you think all the people, and it sounds plural, everyone, okay? So let's take a look. Everyone was excited to get started on their projects, that they trampled over each other as they dashed over to the supplies table. So we can change everyone was, started, dashed, supplies, or no error, okay? Now remember what I always say, when you see the pronoun there on a standardized English test, slow down and locate your subject. And in this case, we have everyone was excited to start on their projects. Now to your own ear, that might sound correct, because when you see everyone, you think all the people, and it sounds plural. But everyone is actually singular. Look at this. It has the word one in it. What you're saying here is each and every one person was, and that indicates that it is singular as well. You don't say everyone were excited. Were goes with the plural. All the people were excited. All the students were excited. Everyone was excited. Each one person was excited to get started on their projects. So now we have one, which is singular, and their, which is plural. And I always say, you see their, them, or they, slow down. Now, I don't have an option to change their, okay? I have to change something else, because there is not underlined. So that has got to stay, all right? What I can do is change my subject. Instead of saying everyone was excited, I could say the students were excited. And you can see this was is also underlined, so I can change that as well. In this case, A is the correct answer, because we need to change our subject of the sentence to match or to agree with our pronoun. This is called pronoun antecedent agreement. And we want to make sure that our pronoun and our antecedent, these are actually two pronouns, but here is the first pronoun, there, and here's the other pronoun, everyone. They don't match. Everyone is singular, there is plural. I need to change the subject to plural to match the there. So I'd probably change it to the students were excited, or all the people were excited to get started on their projects. We also have the word they here, and they. So once we change this to a plural subject, their, they, and they will all match. All right, and finally, let's take a look at one of these problems that might look grammatically correct to you at first glance, but are actually grammatically incorrect, and you have an opportunity to fix them on the test. So before doctors make a diagnosis, they should review their patient's medical history. So in a problem like this, the entire sentence is underlined. A is going to be no change. This is what it looks like on the Praxis exam. And B, C, D, and E are options to change this particular sentence. So when I look at it, before doctors make a diagnosis, I could see that that's a dependent clause, and it is bracketed off by the comma there. Oops. Kind of covered up the comma there. Sorry about that. So we can see that the comma is correct. So we're going to check is good. They should review their patient's medical history. Here we have the independent clause, they should. We also have they and doctors, and that matches. So we're good there. But what is in question here is we have review their patients, and I have the S apostrophe, which means we have multiple patients, it's plural, and they own the medical history. Now the problem with this, and it sounds and looks grammatically correct, before doctors make a diagnosis, they should review their patient's medical history. Now, this indicates that there is just one history. Now it sounds grammatically correct, but out of all these patients, and it could be hundreds or thousands of patients, do we only have one medical history? I need to make sure that I have multiple histories. So I need that plural. They should review their patients' medical histories. This is also called noun-noun agreement. We have multiple patients. Patients is a noun, it's a plural noun. And histories is also a noun. And if this one is plural, we have multiple patients, they have multiple histories as well. So anything with history, 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 I can get rid of. So A, no change is out. B is out because it says history. And C is out. Now I'm between D and E. And I have before doctors make a diagnosis, I've got the correct comma there. They should review their patients, good, plural, possessive here, medical histories. Good, okay, it looks like D is the correct answer here. Let's check E. Before doctors make a diagnosis, look here, no comma. We have a dependent clause here, like we said above, and an independent clause here. They can't just be smushed together with no punctuation. There needs to be a comma here, and it is missing. And even though this is correct and this is correct, E is out, leaving with D as the correct answer. So this is another one of those sneaky grammar questions where at first glance or when you read it to yourself, it sounds correct. But be careful, this is noun-noun agreement. Multiple patients have to have multiple histories.